All right, let us start. Kayena vacha chittena amadena maya katang achayang kamame bante buri panya tathagata kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame dhamma sanditika akalika kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame sangha supatipana anuttara sadhu sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisarana gamanang paripunang panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Abrahmacharya veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Nacha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasana Malakanda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatthana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Uchasayana Mahasayana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Idang me silang Magapala nyanasa Pacayo hotu appamadena sampadeta sadhu. Let us start with some guided metta before we start the Dhamma talk. Relax here. Relax the body. Relax from top of the head. Relax the face. Relax the neck and shoulders. Relax the chest, stomach, spine, back. Relax the buttock. Relax the hips and thighs, knees and calf, ankles and soles, toes. So relax the whole body. And keep the mind calm and peaceful, alert and open. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well and healthy. And may I truly be happy. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well and healthy. And may I truly be happy. Now let us expand. Let us expand to all beings in this neighborhood, in this center. May they be monks or nuns, yogis, helpers, volunteers, supporters and donors. May they be the guardian devas of this center. All other devas residing here, to all the petas and to all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen. May all beings here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all of us here be peaceful, be well and healthy, and may all of us here truly be happy. May all beings here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all of us here be peaceful, living in harmony with ourselves and in harmony with others. May all beings be well be healthy, and may all beings truly be happy. Let us spread further. Let us spread the metta to all the beings in this country. May they be humans or non-humans, Vedas or Devas, animals big or small, seen or unseen, far or near. May all beings in this country be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings in this country, may they all able to live in peace and in harmony. May they all be well. May they all be healthy. And may they all truly be happy. May all beings in this country be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings here truly be happy. Now let us spread further. Let us spread further to all the beings in this whole world. May they be humans or non-humans. May they be our loved ones, near or far away, or those people whom we do not know. Or to those whom we dislike or those who dislike us. To all the guardian devas of the sasana. To all other devas residing in this world. To all the petas, to all the animals, big or small, far or near, seen or unseen. May all beings without exception be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, may they all be free from all physical suffering. May all beings in this world, may they all able to live in peace and not in war. Live with kindness and compassion and not in cruelty or violence. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. May all beings truly be happy. May all beings in this world be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Now let us expand the metta. Expand as far as it can go. Without exception, without boundary. To all beings in this universe or universes. all beings from the highest planes of existence down to the lowest planes of existence. All beings from all the world systems. May all beings without exception be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings able to live in harmony with themselves and in harmony with others. May all beings be peaceful. May they be well. And may all beings truly be happy. May all beings be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. May they all be healthy. And may they all truly be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Now slowly we let go of the metta. Bring our attention back again to the body. Feel the rise and fall of the abdomen. Feel the pressure. Feel the sensation. Then we can slowly open our eyes. Okay. So yesterday we talked about the suitability. That there are suitability of actions. What are you supposed to do and not supposed to do? Suitability of speech. What is suitable to speak and when is not suitable to speak. Suitable of thoughts, which we didn't discuss that much. But later on, other days, we're going to talk about it. What is suitable in thoughts and what is not suitable in the thoughts. And when the more that you pay attention to all these things, you begin to understand that a lot of our actions is prompted by our thoughts and our thinking, and in other words, our defilements also included. And also sometimes it also prompted by our wholesome states of mind. Yeah? So it's in the yogi's domain that you can able to notice this type of subtle type of defilements that arises if it arises and you pay attention to those things. When you pay attention to it long enough, you begin to notice them. And you begin to notice them, they become weaker, and sometimes for a long period of time, they don't come up. Other words, like for example, when you are walking meditation, like yesterday that I mentioned, that the thought of arising to go to rest, when it's not necessary, when you're okay, then it's just because the mind is lazy. So in the beginning part, we take note of this type of actions. Again and again, when we take note of these actions, then subsequently in the retreats to come, then this type of thoughts don't arise anymore, or hardly arises. We learn to manage all our hindrances by in the walking or in the sitting, not just by going into to sleep and so on. So the mind holds back the action, prevent it from doing it. So these are simple action. These are simple example that To you, you may not look at it as much of a defilements that comes up. But it's kind of like a hindrances, a small hindrances that it prevents the meditation from going further. Long enough, it becomes a habit, then it becomes a problem. So all these type of things, then we have to take note of those areas. Now, yesterday also I mentioned about the type of objects. The third one on this investigation of Dhamma is also on the choosing the right objects for vipassana meditation. That is to say, which one is the suitable objects for vipassana meditation and what is not suitable for vipassana meditation. And yesterday I mentioned that there are between ultimate realities and conceptual objects or concepts. Ultimate reality here means you can directly note it. Even without you thinking, you don't have to think about it. Directly you can pay attention to it. Whereas concept is something that's created by the mind. Concept here, like for example, when we are talking right now, hear all the words that you listen and you process by your thoughts, then all those are concept, words concept. Then, for example, we have time concept. What time is now? What time is yesterday? We got space concept or distance concept, near or far away. What else we have? So different types of concept. We're not going to go through it. Then during in the meditation, as I said, this conceptual object, they arises every now and then. And mostly it comes in as our thoughts and thinking. All the images and all the memories and all the plannings that you are seeing it in your mind, then all these are created by the mind. So we just categorize them as concept. Ultimate reality here means you can feel it, you can note it. These are the objects like in the body, objects of the body. Hard, soft, warm, cold, movements, tension, pulling, or the pain. Hard pain, soft pain, pulling pain, turning pain, twisting pain. Or sometimes you notice your anger, which is going to the mind. Angry mind, desirous mind, greedy mind, drowsy mind, restless mind. There are so many types of mind is there. So that all belongs to the mental aspect. So those things can be directly known. So it can be used as a vipassana object. It's easy for us to say now that you can able to differentiate it just by thinking about it and analytical thought on these things. But when you come into meditation, it's not that easy to differentiate them. Because concept is very much part of us. We cannot live without concept. Our whole world, how we live, how we communicate, all this we live in a conceptual world. We don't live in the ultimate reality also. The Buddha also don't live in the ultimate reality. The Buddha also use concept to communicate and so on. But when one meditates, one pay attention to the ultimate reality, to all the senses, pressure, pulling, and so on. So we still need the concept. We still all need this concept, but you must differentiate that during in the vipassana, these are not the suitable object. Now, as I said that this concept during in the meditation, they can be quite difficult for us to differentiate them. Firstly, because our wisdom factor or the factor of this investigation of Dhamma is not strong. So because it's not strong, it's easily for us to fall into concept rather than the ultimate reality. Yeah? So take, for example, like the thinking yesterday I mentioned, that the thinking process, the, the process that producing all your images, that is in the present moment. And that is ultimate reality. That is reality. That is happening right now. The consciousness are producing those thoughts, those images. Those images are categorized as concept, but the process itself, its ultimate reality. So therefore, as a yogi, as a vipassana yogi, you must able to differentiate between these two. But it's easier said than done because most of the time we fall into the story. We fall into its thoughts. We get dragged into it very long for a period of time before we realize that we are supposed to meditate. Then your mind pull out from it. Then only we realize, hey, just now I was thinking so much. It dragged us in. But this is the nature. This is the nature of our this is the nature of our minds. So as you keep on training, as you keep on training and training, you begin to realize that the thoughts process, the thinking process becomes shorter and shorter. It gets less. Not to say it's zero, but it gets less. In other words, if you become more able to manage the thinking mind. Not like when you come in the first day, second day, that's a lot of it. Cannot meditate, difficult to meditate. So as the number of days, as we keep on arousing that mindfulness clearer and clearer, then you see that your thinking becomes shorter. Because that time, mindfulness works, and mindfulness come in more frequently. And mindfulness also begins to, and together with the investigation of Dhamma, it begins to realize that these are just thoughts and concepts. It comes in faster, which is good. Then as you keep on meditating, as you keep on stronger, as the mindfulness becomes more continuous, then you will see that sometimes the thoughts, even if we want to come up, is just being prevented from coming up. You know that it's coming, but it's being prevented. Then the thoughts stop, and then you just continue to do whatever that you are doing. Can you all do that? Maybe not yet. Even you can do that, but doesn't mean that all the time you can do that. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes also you get dragged into it, Just because you can do it a few times, you wow, ho say liao, ho say for now only lah, But later on, it will drag you in again, because these are hindrances of the mind. It's not being eradicated yet, but it gets more manageable, which is good, which is good. We're not expecting it to be zero, but become more manageable. So these are like concept, and noting the thinking process that you note, thinking, anxiety, memory, planning. Those things, as you note them, then it will be good. Because you are noting the present object. You have to do it again and again until you get used to it. And you get used to it. Now, during in the meditation also, as I said, this type of concept, sometimes they become very real. So real. As if like sometimes some people, they sit down, they close their eyes because of their memory is so clear. They can recall back things like 20, 30, 40 years back. As if like happened yesterday or just a week ago. They could notice things very clearly. They could notice things very, very clearly. So that is in a way that the mindfulness helps them to recall a lot of things. Like few days, like not few days, last week I mentioned about mindfulness. I said mindfulness has two meaning. One meaning is to remember the past. The other meaning is to being present. So they are all connected. This remembering the past and what is happening in the present, those things are connected. In the Vipassana, we are taking up the second meaning. But because you arouse more mindfulness in you, then you can actually make a recall back a lot of things that happened in the past. That normally in your everyday life you don't recall. Mm? So these things happen. Uh, uh, but therefore, because of its clarity, it comes up. Sometimes, sometimes you did something wrong in the past. Sometimes in your mind itself, your image there, you try to right the wrongs that you have done in the past. Yeah. All the wrong actions that we have done or wrong speech that we have done, and then we think back, we're not supposed to do that. What can I do right now? Then you start thinking, hey, these type of thoughts, the more you think about it, the more you like it. The more it's going to drag you in and you feel good about it because at least you console yourself. What can you do about it? After all, things are already done already. Um, Sometimes inside there, the concept we also can, sometimes you can change all the story inside there. Things not happen or we wish it to happen. Yeah. So we can create a lot of things and we want to believe it. Now this one is not too terrible. Worse is that you go into a lot of schizophrenia or whatever. Because you're creating what is not there. What didn't happen. What is terrible is sometimes like in the meditation, there are many types of imagination and thoughts and creation of the mind. They are so real. Sometimes like for example, you sit here, you may the concept create is so clearly, like as if like you can see your family members at home, whatever they are doing. Yeah. Then you play like you play the whole thing in because you think of it like it's in the present. They're present, but they are far away. But here you know what they are doing, or you think you know what they are doing. You think you know what they are doing, or you believe that they are doing over there. So after a day or two, you take up the phone. Hey, were you doing that at that time or not? I was meditating, I could see you. Wow. Then it all become like psychic power already. You think that ones have psychic power, all kinds of power, and all kinds of development. Uh, so so all these type of things, they sometimes you make believe. All this concept becomes so clear, and they thought that they have all these type of powers. So the concept can be very manipulative because again here, it's a source of all our defilements to arise. Concept. So if you're not careful, we get dragged into it. Now, so that one, make sure we keep it aside. Now, make sure we put it aside. Now, back to this ultimate reality. Now, in the ultimate reality here, again and again, you are requested to pay attention to your present object. They are rising, falling, lifting, pushing, dropping, pain, pulling, stretching, whichever is predominant at that moment of time. If it's not predominant, then put it aside. Uh, don't have to go and look for it. So predominant object, you pay attention to it, and this predominant object are the ultimate reality type of object. Okay? So let's say you are asked to note your rising, falling, sitting, touching, lifting, pushing, dropping. Then why is that so that we have to take note of this object? Why not the concept? Why we must take note of this type of objects? Why don't we take note of a table, a chair? Why don't we take note, sit outside there, look at the trees, look at the birds? Why don't we take those objects? Why must it take all this type of mental objects and physical objects? Now, within these mental and physical objects, there lies the truth with a capital T, all the noble truth is inside there. And what is this truth? What is this truth within your rising and falling? What is this truth within that pain? What is this truth within that lifting, pushing, dropping? What is there? Here the truth is that it begins with the characteristic of the object. It begins with the characteristic, or is the nature of the object. In the beginning, the characteristic of the object that you pay attention to, like for example, you note the rising and falling. The movements is the characteristic. The movement is the characteristic. It moves 2 times up. 2 times the movement takes place. That means you notice the characteristic in a way twice. If the rising and fall, if the falling goes down 3 times, you notice the characteristic 3 times. Okay? So you note, let's say you note your sitting and touching. You note your touching aspect here. Touching, 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 touching. While you notice that touching, then you notice that there's a warmness there. If you're able to pick up that warmness, you pick up one characteristic. If you notice that heat, for example, you notice the sweatiness, for example, then you pick up another characteristic. You notice heat, you notice sweat, or something sweaty, so while you're paying attention to that touch alone, then you begin to notice the 2 characteristics. Then noticing this characteristic is the gateway for us to go into further truth. Because the truth are layered. The truth are one layer after layer, like a kueh lapis like that, One layer after layer. So you have to go through the first layer first. The first layer first that you have to go through is observing its characteristic first. Don't talk about, I want impermanent, I want anatta, I want this and that. Boy, belum. All what you think about impermanence and so on, these are all analytical thinking. All these are all analytical thinking. You haven't seen the truth yet. The truth here, the deeper aspect of all these things, all begins from noticing the characteristic. That's why we are keeping asking you, hey, did you notice how the lifting is like or not? How is the lifting is at? Did you notice or not? Then you begin to pay attention to how lifting, or vibration there, or pushing, stepping, hot, cold, pressure, whatever that is being noticed at that time. Whatever that you're being noticed at that time. So you pay attention to those characteristics. You pay attention to the pain. What this pain, that pain, pulling pain, heart pain, twisting pain, these are characteristics of the pain or different types of pain. So your job is again here, differentiating this characteristic. You notice this characteristic, you notice that characteristic, you notice this characteristic, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So therefore, in that way, that mindfulness becomes continuous. Sometimes you notice, let's say, for example, you notice the pain. You notice pain, after you come to your threshold already, then that is where you note your anger, you're not anger coming in, your thinking coming in already. Thinking, anger, betahan. All whatever that you can notice, at least you notice something. How the action, how the pain is affecting the thoughts, how the pain is affecting the thinking. So pay attention to those things. These are their characteristic. So sometimes, like in the mind, for example, anger arises. Angry. And then when you notice the anger, how is the anger like? Oh, burning la, jua la, betahan la. And then notice it. It is its characteristic. But the thing is that we don't like it. We don't like it. Bosong. The unpleasantness of it. If you can notice unpleasant. No. Your job is to notice its characteristic, not just suppress here, suppress there. I don't like this, I like this. Whatever I like, I notice. I don't like one, I don't notice. Yeah. Since we talk about pain, some yogis over time, after a number of retreats also, Bante, why should we not pain one? Why? Can't you just not rising, falling, lifting, pushing, dropping? Forget the pain. Very choosy. Vipassana, you cannot choose. Vipassana, you have to see it as they are, as they present it to you, not what you want or what you don't want. The nature of a mind is very subtle. We don't realize that a lot of times all these defilements are creeping up just at the behind it, and it's already pulling strings, like a puppet. It starts to pull you already here and there. So the mind is not so easy to notice, but nevertheless, it's all about training. You begin to, in the Vipassana meditation, normally when we teach you the gross object first. We will take up the gross objects. Like the body objects are gross object. The pain, super gross, right at the face there, right at the buttock there. You don't have to run. You'll come and look for you. You cannot run away. You will be always be there. When it comes, it will come. So comparatively, even sometimes rising or falling, it's not easy to see. Also, in the beginning part of meditation, easier like again here like the walking meditation. It's easier for us to pick up those sensation of those characteristics that you can able to pick up easier. Because you're able to pick up easier, that's where your mindfulness comes in. So your mindfulness comes in as the mindfulness getting stronger. Then we begin to take note of the more subtle objects that it arises. Because this time, as the mindfulness becomes stronger, these subtle objects become slowly become clearer. They become clearer to you. And you will see it. And the thoughts become clearer to you. Sleepiness also, in a way, become clearer. Thinking mind, restless mind, greed mind, this nature of the mind becomes clearer. You also become clearer. You begin to know the nature of mindfulness also. Sometimes you begin to know the nature of effort becomes prominent in the mind there. Sometimes you begin to notice the concentration becomes prominent in the mind there. So it's quite interesting as you begin to pick up many areas of the mind. But we don't do that in the beginning of the practice. We slowly as the mindfulness pick up, we begin to notice the objects of the mind. Not only that, sometimes as a yogi, we notice also how these objects are interacting with each other. The interaction with each other also is another kind of characteristic. You notice one characteristic, you notice two characteristics and how they interact. Because when they interact, they influence each other, or sometimes one influence the other, someone affect the other. Yeah. You see different types of conditioning within that practice. Even in the Abhidhamma, they talk about the 24 conditionings. So all these type of conditionings, you can notice it in your own practice. It's just that you don't have the words for it, Manila. But that doesn't matter. What is important here is that you can see it for yourself. So it's good that we begin to pay attention to all these type of concept. All this type of ultimate reality within mind and body. Back to our concept again. Now, when you are using the labeling is concept. The labeling is concept. But the labeling is always helpful, especially for a beginner yogi. If without this labeling that you do, then it's going to be hard for beginners to stay with the objects. A lot of times, your mind will be dragged into a lot of thinking. Why? Because the mind that directed into it, onto the lifting, pushing, dropping is not much there. Weak. So the labeling process, as part of like a vitaka, if you know your Pali terms, initial application. So this labeling, it acts in that way. It directs the attention onto the object. And it's helpful. It's really helpful. It's helpful for many beginners to begin to meditate. But sometimes there are people who think that after all, we take ultimate reality. What for? We want all these concepts somehow. We must put away all this concept. Cannot use the concept anymore. You cannot do that. But that's their way, even their way, what they want to do. So the labeling, they are very helpful. So the labeling are very helpful for the yogis. And sometimes the labeling also, as you begin to develop, then we can have to slowly drop the labeling too. We drop the labeling when our objects usually begin to change a little bit more faster. That you cannot catch up with the change of the object anymore. All right? Rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. Oh, your mind also got no time for you to listen. All you need to do is stay there and watch only. After that, he move here, move there, twist here, pulling there, up and down. Oh, you got no words for it this time. So that time, slowly, you let go of the labeling. And then that time, you just pay attention to the change or what is going on in the object. Okay, so in that way, you pay attention to all this nature. You pay attention to all the nature because it helps to direct you there. Even if you think that you are a pro meditator, if you think you're professional already, you still also bring in the labeling when it's necessary. It's necessary especially when you need to arouse effort, energy. In other words, when the mind is not clear. For example, when you are drowsy. When you're drowsy, then the labeling is very useful. Sometimes even if you're he meditate many years. Like every morning you wake up, sometimes although the mind is fresh, the body is feel good, but the mind hasn't warmed up yet. That time you bring in the labeling first. Then you start off with some mindfulness, and say, as the mindfulness pick up, then it becomes clearer. So as a beginner, if your objects is not so clear, then it's always good to use the labeling to help you to this to direct the mind onto the object. So the labeling is very helpful in that sense. In concept also, that means the Dhamma talk and so on, that also is helpful. Even the Dhamma talks also, as you grow deeper and deeper into the meditation, sometimes too many Dhamma talks also be kacau only. Very disturbing also. Because you can do already, ma. You can walk, you can notice, you can do everything also. Sometimes too many Dhamma talk. But once in a while, the Dhamma talk also is good. It kind of like stir you up a little bit. Stir you up a little bit. But too much also can be quite difficult, quite unbearable. The concept here, so the ultimate reality, as we notice all the rising, falling, and so on, here, when we notice all the characteristic, we will keep on, when we notice this characteristic, we want to push the mind further into noticing how these characteristics begin to change. The change are subtle. The change is like the next level, the other lapis, The beginning part, as I said, this is the characteristic that you're noticing. Slowly, slowly, you begin to notice things are changing. It begins with changing sometimes without you thinking about it. Sometimes the change, for example, even you notice your pain. Your pain becomes stronger, stronger, become less. Is considered change. But it's not truly anicca yet. Change, yes. You notice sometimes like your one type of pain, it changed to another type of pain. A heart pain, it changed to that. Then for a short while, it changed to that. And you change. And sometimes it changed from one to another in a stretch of time. Good. Because this time you begin to notice more things. You begin to notice the changes that's happening. That means you already goes into a bit of deeper aspect of the meditation, which is good. Sometimes you begin to notice that the mental aspect and the physical aspect as if they come together. Sometimes, for example, if you do the turning on the tap, turning, hey, while you notice the turning, you notice the mind also that is observing the turning of the tap. Hey, turning, hey, I know it. But sometimes you got no words for it, but you know it happened. As long as you know it happened, well and good. Because now at least you know the mind and the physical action is being going together. Well and good. Yeah. Sometimes you notice the rising and falling. You notice rising and falling, or sitting, touching. Then you notice the mind that is paying attention to the rising and falling. Or sometimes, like in the beginning, when you begin to notice the mind, how they change and so on, one of the things that you begin to notice them how the mind take place is starting from your heartbeat, peep peep pop pop, Then some yogis think that, hey, Anjua, how come I meditate until I can hear my heart start beep pop, beep pop, beep pop, beep pop. Then sometimes the yogi kak pandai nampok, a little bit pandai, he put the hand here. Then he can put the hand here. But while he is noticing, he noticed how come the beep pop that I notice a bit more faster than my heart one? The heart not so fast, but the beep pop more faster. Mana boleh like that. How come cannot synchronize? so, so these are not, you notice somewhere there, you notice somewhere there. Then what is more important? I mean, in the beginning part, you kind of like you notice this is perfectly all right, but you don't get too confused, Don't get too confused over it. What you should do, as long as it's something that's peep pop there, then you take notice of it. Don't go and put your hand there. You won't die. You won't get heart attack. Don't worry. So it's nothing. It's just the nature of the mind that it begins. So you notice the heartbeat here. Sometimes they notice the heartbeat like in the hands area. How come here run and then after here go to the muscle up here, then how can it go left? How come the heart become at the right area one? That's supposed to be left. How can it run to the right? And run to the hand again. Again, this is the different nature of the mind. So all you need to do is just learn to notice them. As long as there's a peep pop there, you notice lah. A lot of things is going to be new to you. You see, the mindfulness is going to uncover a lot of things that's happening inside the body, especially connected with the mind. So all you need to do is pay attention to them as they arises. They are clear. Pay attention to them. If you're not sure, let's say you are not sure, then you ask yourself hey, am I imagining one or this is real one? And then you ask yourself So you ask yourself, then again your mind will go to there. You feel it. Hey, am I feeling in the present moment? Yes, I'm feeling it in the present moment. That means it's real object Not so difficult, isn't it? If your mindfulness is there, it will protect the mind. So you don't worry about it. So sometimes, as I said, the characteristic become more clearer, more obvious. The changes become a lot. So sometimes, as I said, the rising, falling, you notice, then you notice the mind that comes together with it. So sometimes you notice that 3 or 4 rising and falling, there'll be also 3 or 4 mind that comes together with the rising and falling. Sometimes, like in the lifting, pushing, dropping, sometimes it's a 3 lifting, also 3 mind that is also occurring together with it. So whenever that it happens, then you pay attention to it. In the deeper aspect of the meditation, even the yogis, sometimes they don't realize which one is the mind and which one is the body already. All mind and all body, they are all just same. They are just arising and passing away. They just change and change and change and change and change. All the characteristic becomes like all these type of things is just arising and passing away. Everything they sit down is already arising and passing. They pay attention, also arising and they pay attention, the mind also arising and passing away. Everything's blended in together, and it's perfectly all right. Doesn't matter anymore. So the characteristics is a lot. Not just only your hardness, pain, pulling, thinking. There are much more than that. So maybe you're at the first lapis, second lapis only. There are maybe so many more lapis to go before enlightenment. Because after that, when the mind matured, then the last lapis is the enlightenment. Then you have all the cake already for yourself. So then again, when we notice the Nibbana, also we notice its characteristic also. Because Nibbana, it's real. It's real, it's reality. That means when it's real, it has its characteristic. So your job is again to pay attention to it. So these are That's why this is important, that the yogis must know how to differentiate between what is conceptual object and what is physical or mental object. You have to know how to differentiate them. Even sometimes that I've seen in out there, vipassana becomes sometimes in a way corrupted. In a way corrupted, you know. There are people who begin to teach vipassana, you know, begins with sometimes with the in-breath, out-breath, begin with rising and falling, but you end up with a lot of all kinds of imagination. And this imagination can be very dangerous because this imagination, this concept, if you begin to believe them, that means the wrong view already arises, then you may think that, or you believe that you're already enlightened, you're already there. Yeah? You're already like a great yogi, wonderful. And that can be dangerous because that, as you go further, as the person goes further into it, it spread all kinds of all this wrong view to the people. And the more that the wrong view to the people, because that this type of views is a very interesting view. Who wants to listen to batok pain? Who wants to listen to this pain, that pain, rising, falling? Who want to listen to it? People want to listen to, wow, beautiful lights. People want to listen to psychic power. People want to listen to the Dhamma talk got hantu one, you know. got, got got magical power that some monks can see these beings, that being create this, that, you know. Some power, metta, or the power of the metta, so this and so on. That mean interesting talk, you know. Most people like that talk, not this type of vipassana talk. More or less, yesterday also talk pain, today also talk pain. I mean, next week also I'll talk pain also. So who want to listen? Few people here and there want to listen. You see, the truth, people think that they want to see the truth, but not really many people want to see the truth. The mind cannot penetrate through. Anyway, this is how the third part of investigation of Dhamma, where you can differentiate the conceptual object, concept, and you differentiate the realities, the ultimate object, the ultimate realities, the hardness, softness, and all that. Of course, this ultimate reality, if you want to go through a little bit of more technical words, like wind element, fire element, what element? Earth element, then what? Water element, you know. All these things are elements. After all, these are only we use it for teaching. Finally, when as a yogi meditates, then it's always important to take note of hard, soft, warm, cold, pulling, twisting, and so on. These are all elementary forces of the body. Elementary forces of the body. But again here, make sure that when you learn about all these elements, you don't go and think if this rising and falling, wind element or fire element. When you're going to think in this way, there will be, again here, the progress will stop there for a while. Until you begin to pay attention to it, to the rising and falling again, then the progress begin a little bit. Then if you go back into the thinking again, thinking about, is this again fire element or this wind element and so on, then all these things will begin to cut off your mindfulness again and again. It cuts off. That's why the mindfulness cannot go continuous. So make sure you just stay there, pay attention to it, rising, falling, sitting, touching, all these things that I've taught before, you know. So you just stay simple, why make life so complicated? But there are complicated minds. Our mind is all very complicated. Very complicated. Well, you see, teaching meditation, if you, the easy part is to teach you meditation, how to walk, how to sit. That is the very easy part. The difficult part is to teach you where don't go wrong. To make sure that you don't go wrong, that is difficult to teach, because to go wrong, there are so many ways that you're going to go wrong. So many ways that you're going to go out. So many defilements we have to listen to you whether you are going out or not. There's so many concepts, so many things, just to pull you back to the right path, to pull you back to the walking, sitting, and so on. That just to pull you back, that one is difficult. But some people don't want to be pulled back. They want to be there. Song song ma. Very nice, very pleasant. Not easy. Yeah. So this is the third part. The third part, that you differentiate what is concept and what is ultimate reality. Now we go to the fourth part a little bit before we go. The fourth part here is to, once you can able to take up that real object of reality, then here, just now I already mentioned some of it. Here is that you begin to scrutinize that object, that characteristic. That means you take note of it, and further you pay attention to what is really going on with the object. Yeah. So here you differentiate. The third one is you differentiate between what is concept and what is reality. And the fourth one is, within that reality, you begin to differentiate what is going on inside there. Yeah. It's just like earlier on, I already mentioned. If you're able to notice rising and falling, you differentiate two movements already. Yeah, you differentiate two movements. You differentiate sometimes the rising, falling. This is how you begin to go in a little bit further. That your mind, your mindfulness begins to pick up, it becomes clear. Sometimes you notice the rising goes up, down, forward, backward. Yeah. That means you differentiate the different characteristics of what it's doing. Sometimes you notice that a few times it goes rising and falling. Then after that, you notice it goes sideways, or it goes slightly 45 degrees. But like that. That too, when you notice that way, that means you begin to differentiate the characteristic of the rising and falling. You take note of a pain. You take note of the pain. You notice pain, but you scrutinize that pain currently. You scrutinize the pain. As the pain getting stronger, it moves. You notice that it starts moving. That means you are scrutinizing the object. And this is what we want you to do. A lot of times, yogi may thought that why notice the pain? It's not because that you have to go through all the suffering. It's because that the truth within the pain is how you see all the characteristics and how they change. This is how you begin to differentiate all your objects further. If you are not a yogi, if you are not a yogi at all, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you do not know how to do this, when you sit down, when the pain arises, the moment it arises, what happened to the mind? The mind becomes so angry. But now, before you go into anger, there's a period of time you begin to scrutinize what is going on. That is what we want you to do. To scrutinize how the pain is like, how the pulling, and so on. This is where the truth lies. The truth lies inside that thing. So this is where the fourth part of the investigation of Dhamma is to scrutinize. So all your objects, whenever your mind is alert and clear, sitting or walking, that time you pay attention to those objects thoroughly, precisely, clearly. See how it pulls and so on. Then the progress will come in. Okay, so we'll stop here for tonight. This Dhamma talk will continue on Monday night. But tomorrow night, we're going to have a Q&A session. All right. The Q&A session, what you do is this. Inside there, for the yogis, then here we have two boxes. One box, well, I'll put it downstairs at the female staircase there. Male only one person. Anyway, put a box or so. Okay. Now you send in you write your questions. Then I will pick it up maybe after lunch and also maybe 5-6 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah. Now your question is always related. It'd be good that it's all related to your meditation or what you don't understand, or whether you want to clarify something, or whether you want to this one about meditation and so on. Huh? Not about your at home lah. Not about ghosts or what. Things are connected with meditation. Okay. Now, this is one. Number two, for those who are online right now, now if you want to send in your question, also okay. All right, hold on. Let me share the screen for all of you. All right, hold on. Let me close one thing first. Okay. All right. Now, those who are online, you can send in your question also. You send it to Sister Hun Ling. That's where the phone number, and you send in the questions. Again, here the question has to be connected with meditation. Now, priority of questions. Priority of questions will be given to the yogis over here. If they have more questions, then I'll answer them all. Then I may not have time for those who are online. If they do not have they have not many questions, and I will choose a few from the online, then I will answer the questions too. Okay? So this about, we'll do Q&A on Saturdays, right? So that's it. All right, we share merits. Idang me bawanang nibbanasa pachayo hotu. May my mental cultivation be a condition for the realization of Nibbana. Imang no punya bagang sabba satanang dema. We share these merits with our departed ones, with all beings and all the devas. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu anumodantu. May all beings be happy. May they rejoice in these merits. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.